deal never went through. A lot of folks, myself included, by the way, took KD nixing the deal as a sign that he simply didn't want to play with Draymond again. Durant says that isn't the reason, and he gave the actual reason. He didn't want to be traded to Golden State or anywhere at the deadline. Take a listen.
People talk crazy about me all the time, you know? Like, that's not the reason why I didn't want to come back. I just didn't want to get traded midway through the season. It was nothing against my time with the Warriors, or I heard because I don't like Draymond, or I didn't like, you know, the media talking crazy about me. But at the end of the day, I just didn't want to move, and I wanted to see it through with my team in Phoenix.
I like that he included the I didn't want to move part, because I think we always forget that part about athlete trades.
No, that's
like
real.
literally just picking up your life during the year when you're supposed to be at work, you know, the next day, and moving all of that. Brew, do you think Durant made the right decision in saying he wants to, at the very least, finish this year, not necessarily his contract, but this year in Phoenix?
Well, look, first of all, more power to him. He's been a guy that seems to have been searching for happiness. Remember, even in Golden State, he said he thought winning the championship would fill a void, and it didn't. So if he's happy in Phoenix, personally, good for him. He has said, and this goes back to 2018, he's told us what he's looking for in terms of basketball. This is a quote. He gave this quote to Zach Lowe. I mean, I'm crazy about winning. Don't get me wrong. I'm just not obsessed with winning championships. It's not the only reason I play. I play for individual growth. So I think KD is like, is my handle better today than it was yesterday? Like, that's what I'm looking for. And that's great. We know he is a straight hooper who loves the game. But here's the thing, KD. We judge your individual growth by winning. Not just championships, but you have to be winning at a high level. If you score a bunch of points as like a veteran player on a bad team, you don't get the same props as a guy doing that on a good team. And that's why, like, I've heard people say Kevin Durant's as good as ever. Look at him. And if you look at the numbers, you would think that 27.3 points a game, which is his exact career average. 6 rebounds, about 5 assists, shooting 40% from 3, 4 assists a game. But I know Kevin Durant, while still great, is not what he used to be because they're not winning. They're 11th in the West. They might not even make the play-in, let alone the playoffs. And there's no way Kevin Durant, at the height of his powers, I don't care who's playing with him, he's in the playoffs, period. And so that's how we judge things. So from a basketball vantage point, I think he made a mistake. Now, not talking his personal feelings, but I think he should have gone to Golden State. I think Steve Kerr talking about, you know, he gave a quote like, I get it. He got so much criticism when he came here. I think that's hogwash because this is a totally different situation. If Durant had gone to Golden State now, he is viewed as the savior. He's not viewed as hopping on the bandwagon again. Oh, they won 73 games the year he went there and had beat him in the playoffs. He goes now, I know they won the championship a few years ago. But they're in danger. I know Jimmy Butler wouldn't have been there, but they're in danger of missing the play-in or playoffs as well. So he would go there, be a savior, and I really think had he gone there, they would have had a chance to win a championship. And had they done it, this would have been his best championship. Just like LeBron's in Cleveland is his best championship. So I think he missed out on an opportunity. So I think he did make the wrong decision.
To your point, I think he made the right decision for himself emotionally and how he feels about the game of basketball. I disagree with you saying that the Steve Kerr statement was hogwash. I think that's a part of the reason why he didn't go, and I support that statement. Like almost.
Well, and Durant, just not to interrupt you, but just to support what you're saying, I don't think Durant is necessarily as obsessed with what it appears that his image or reputation is as he was earlier in his career, but he will mix it up with, he will argue directly with people. And I have not, by the way, I actually like that about him. He puts his name to it. He's like, hey, here's where I stand on things. but you only do that if you are not only aware, but care in some way, shape, or form what is being said about you or what is being said about the league or your team and want to correct the records.
Yeah, so for me, him staying in Phoenix and being 11th in the West and still having an opportunity to get into the play-in and to get his team in position to where they can try to do something, I can respect that, because if he does it in Phoenix, it would be more meaningful than if he did it in Golden State. If he gets in and they make a deep run.
So
a deep, but nobody, like, if they just get in the playoffs, that's not an achievement. Because you got Devin Booker and the Bradley Beal, like, they should be a playoff team.
But a deep run would be, I think there's just kind of different tiers of credit, right? So obviously, the best thing is winning a championship. Right. I think we all agree he would get more credit winning a championship at Phoenix than if he had went to Golden State. But your point is they have no chance of winning the championship in Phoenix. Like, there is kind of, my buddy Ty Butler, who does radio in New York, he's a huge KD guy, and he's been promoting this. And I like this from a basketball storybook standpoint as well. And we've talked about it a bit, which is if OKC were to get whacked early in the playoffs, and then he goes there in the offseason, and then that team wins a championship. Even though that's an excellent team, it would feel like he put them over the top. Same thing, and that would be the storybook because that's where he started. Or take Minnesota.
It would be similar to Golden State a little bit. Not quite.
I'm saying if OKC were to lose in round one. If they're the one seed and they get,
it wouldn't be totally like Golden State, but it'd still be like,
okay, well then take Minnesota. Because Minnesota is a team.
Which I actually like.
Which I like a lot, where if Minnesota, they got to a conference finals this year, they've underachieved. If they lose in round one, he goes there. No one would look at that as like bandwagon hopping, and he would be the final piece, even if Anthony Edwards next year was a better player than Kevin Durant. So I don't begrudge him this, because I didn't begrudge him leaving Golden State, because I was one of the main people that was like, this was a BS move. You know what I mean? So I didn't think it was fair for those, not everyone felt that way, but those of us that thought this was a BS move to then be like, and you should have stayed, that would be unfair. Like, I didn't like him going there, so him leaving, I'm not going to criticize. The risk he's running, though, by playing out this year is, man, I don't know how many more great years Steph or Durant have. They're both 36. Steph turns 37 in a few weeks. And I picked 23 points because Steph's averaging just over 23 points this year. Here's the full list of 36-year-olds NBA history to average just 23 a game at age 36 or later. KD this year, Steph this year, Kareem once, Karl Malone twice, and LeBron 5 times. Take LeBron out of it because he's just similar to Malone, just freak athlete. It doesn't happen.
I think it'll start happening more, though.
I agree it will start happening more, but the fact that, Michael Jordan never played a single game as a Bull at age 36. Kobe Bryant
in my top 10.
And that's my issue with it. It's like if it was a move that was going to completely change the landscape of how we look at Kevin Durant and say, oh, man, he's top 10. He's a top 5 player now because he went there and he won. We would look at him that way if he were able to get it done with Phoenix.
But
I'm not saying that they have a chance, but if he were to get it done there, we would give him
it would be
all
a bigger legacy boost. There's no question about it. And I also think that you wouldn't have killed him for going back to Golden State.
No, and I didn't kill him the first time.
If you didn't kill him the first time, you're also much more reasonable than most people on the internet, and I would say more reasonable than a lot of people who do this for a living. Yeah. I do think there would be some loud voices that if he went to Golden State and they won, even if they didn't win the title.
Would you be critical?
No,
I think it's a totally different situation.
I agree, but there would be a lot of, man, what can this dude do without Steph? Like, you know what I mean? There'd be a lot of that. So I understand, like, even if it's irrational, I'm not going to act like it wouldn't exist, even if we wouldn't be doing it. All right, let's move on to the Lakers.